What's going on, guys? Soldier Only here from Sports Nerd Web. Welcome today to today's edition of the Daily Dose. With the new Call of Duty being announced earlier this week, what I wanted to talk about today is uh, pretty much just the Call of Duty franchise in general, not just the new one that's been announced, but just the Call of Duty franchise as a whole. Uh, the last one, last year's Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was a controversial entry in the series to say the least. When Infinite Warfare was when it was first unveiled at E3 last June, it generated a lot of buzz, and originally it wasn't the good kind of buzz. It to this day is still actually one of the most disliked videos in YouTube history, but it's Infinite Warfare is kind of an interesting thing because by the time the game finally came out, it has been pretty much acclaimed for having a great campaign, but as far as the multiplayer is concerned, it's pretty much just more of the same. It's pretty much exactly like Black Ops 3's was. There wasn't really uh, there wasn't really any innovation in it at all. So yeah, once again we have Homicidal Lou in the chat joining us with us. We also have my brother from the real world, Smurf, is in chat joining us with today's talk as well. Homicidal says joining in with the daily dose is fun. Soldier, I can make it. Oh, a backing track for the daily dose you want. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, I mean, I've been meaning to look for some like copyright free music and stuff. I have a couple that I use on if you've seen some of my other shows on YouTube, I have some that I put on, but uh, they're just smaller ones that are good for intros, not for like background music for during the whole talk and stuff like that. But yeah, getting into it, as I said, Call of Duty World War II was unveiled just a couple days ago, just this past Wednesday. I haven't seen the trailer for myself, so I can't really comment too much on that. But I have heard some of the things about it. Supposedly, they're focusing on realism in this one. It's supposed to be a really gritty, supposedly accurate portrayal of World War II. And supposedly there's also supposed to be, they're comparing it to Destiny. They're actually calling it a Destiny styled social space. Is supposed to be in this. I don't know if it's going to be, maybe like some kind of barracks or something like that. I don't think that they showed it in the trailer. As I said, I haven't seen it for myself. So um, there's actually this article on GameSpot that showed up. More Call of Duty World War II multiplayer details revealed. More details on Call of Duty World War II's multiplayer have come to light, whereas past games like Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare featured boost jumping and other futuristic maneuvers. Call of Duty World War II is a return to the roots of the series, featuring weapons and maps authentic to the time period. This arsenal of World War II weapons and the signatures of those weapons were really uniquely defined. Sledgehammer Games boss Michael Condrey told GamesRadar. Obviously, we have the classics that people know and love, like the SMG-44 and the Garand, the rifles, the SMGs like the Thompson or the Grease Gun, but clearly shotguns and LMGs meant things, and the battlefields would respond. In terms of the maps, Condrey teased that Call of Duty World War II will have really unique maps, which will take players to iconic locations from around the globe, including Normandy on D-Day. That's actually another thing that I heard too, is that the multiplayer is actually supposed to have some form of some form of storytelling as well. The multiplayer is actually supposed to have some kind of like a multiplayer campaign in a way. Homicide Lou says this will get a lot of controversy due to having Hitler in the game if it's going through World War II, right? A lot of the older Call of Duties, especially the World War II ones, I didn't really play a lot of those. I know like the original Call of Duties were World War II, but I didn't really play a lot of the Call of Duties back then. it is worth noting. It is worth noting. I mean, I come from a place where I'm not the biggest Call of Duty fan. I don't hate the game by any means. The last entries in the series, pretty much me and Future have been getting them just pretty much just for the zombies. I mean, as you know, me and her stream Call of Duty Zombies every Saturday now. So me and her have a lot of fun with zombies. And from what I know, I'm not positive if they confirmed it or not, but I know I did hear that there was an image released of a World War II soldier uh, kind of zombified, and a lot of people are taking that as like a confirmation of there being a zombies mode in this entry as well, which I think it's pretty much almost a given at this point that they would have it. I think you'd have to be crazy not to have a zombies mode in a Call of Duty game nowadays. It goes on saying there's so many real varied engagements in World War II that really lend itself well to saying, hey, these were real battle sites. They were very different in their strategy, and we have a real world arsenal of weapons that you will have to manage in order to be successful there, he said. As you'd expect, Condrey is very enthusiastic about Call of Duty World War II's multiplayer. For fans in general, a return to the strategic, grounded, fast action of multiplayer where we began, frankly, people are going to go bananas. It's going to be great. The multiplayer also includes a new mode called War. Condrey said this takes the form of a series of objective-driven conflicts, which sounds something like Battlefield 1's Operations. And as for the new headquarters space, which has been likened to Destiny's Tower, Condrey said headquarters is where players will go to be social. He said dozens of characters can interact in new ways while inside headquarters. Condrey used World of Warcraft's or Orgrimmar area as an example of what headquarters may feel like. I remember the impact of going to Orgrimmar in World of Warcraft for the first time and seeing people being social, showing off their gear, practicing their combat, dueling, all these things. So imagine a Call of Duty space that provides that, anchors you in World War II, and continues your social engagement, your attachment to your avatar in a really transformational new space with other community members. That actually sounds really cool. I I like seeing this in Call of Duty. I mean, as I was just saying, even though there's 3 different studios that make Call of Duty games and they alternate. By the way, I have to say, I think that's a brilliant format how Activision has been able to do this with the Call of Duty franchise. So they're able to turn out an entry every single year, but since it rotates there's 3 studios that make Call of Duty games, and then each year they're rotating. So technically, I mean, I believe it's Sledgehammer that's going to be making this World War II entry in the series, and the last one they made was, I think, Advanced Warfare back in 2014. So with this format, they get 3 years. Each studio gets 3 years to make their entry. But then, as a whole, they're still able to turn out an entry every single year. So I just have to say, I think that's a brilliant format. But I like the fact that you are seeing some actual innovation in this. I like how they're going to be adding this new multiplayer objective mode that they said is a lot like Battlefield 1's Operations. I like how they're adding this social space. So it should be really interesting to see, since we haven't really had anything like that in a Call of Duty game. Homicidal says, you would have to be crazy to leave the Halo franchise. Looks over at Bungie. Right? But here's the thing, though. Bungie obviously probably made a crap load of money by selling the Halo franchise to 343. Or even if they even did, because, yeah, Bungie created it, but did Microsoft own it? Or, because Microsoft is still, because 343 is still like under Microsoft. I don't know. I don't remember the whole business side of that. I mean, obviously, probably, I'm sure Bungie made a killing off of the Halo franchise going to 343, but look what Bungie has been able to do with Destiny as well, though. So, honestly, to kind of delve off topic a little bit, I'll look into that for you. Yeah, I'd be really curious to know. Um, Smurf putting in his first input. He said, says, since the game got boring, Call of Duty needed some change. Exactly. I mean, it literally couldn't have been said any better. I mean, as I was saying at the beginning of the talk, uh, in the last entry, Infinite Warfare, it was a really controversial entry because so many of the fans were sick and tired of the futuristic, jetpacking, wall running of the game. They wanted the series to go back to the roots, and so I I obviously think this entry is going to fare better than I mean that's the thing. Infinite Warfare still sold crap loads. That's the thing with Call of Duty. I mean it still sells millions and millions of copies of games. Homicidal Lou says it needs more of a variety, in my opinion. Exactly. You see, I mean, I agree with both you guys, and and that seems to be the opinion of most of the Call of Duty community as well. Look look at what they are doing with Assassin's Creed. I mean, Assassin's Creed was having a game come out every single year, and that franchise was getting stale, and they actually took last year off. So we should be seeing this year if that helped the franchises at all. Here's my thing with Call of Duty. Since you have 3 studios making it and you have an entry coming out every single year, even though, like I said, each studio has 3 years to make a game, I think gamers and community members, they get burnt out on hearing, probably, I think they get burnt out hearing about Call of Duty every single year. You know what I mean? Infinite Warfare literally just came out months ago, and we're already thrown right into the next one. Um, I do think that they need more variety, but I also think it's kind of oversaturation and Call of Duty fatigue, of just Call of Duty in your face 24/7, 365 every single year. It'd be interesting to see if Assassin's Creed is successful on how they took a year off and and they're trying to bring new life into the series. Look what Capcom did with Resident Evil 7. See, so if they did something like that with Call of Duty, maybe they take a year or two off, and then I think if they did that, I think fans would be more receptive to new Call of Duty announcements and stuff like that. I mean, I know there is the Call of Duty diehards out there that buy every single one every single year, and I'm just not that type of Call of Duty player. I do love the Call of Duty games. I just don't buy every single one. As of right now, it's kind of hard to say if I would get uh, this Call of Duty World War II if it came out yesterday. Part of me thinks that I would, like I said, just because Fuchsia and I stream zombies every week. So that's kind of about the only reason why I think I'd get it right now is for the zombies mode. Homicide Lou says Halo was originally owned by Bungie and Microsoft, but they split from Microsoft, yeah, and then Halo got sold. Okay, yeah, because I know Bungie was under Microsoft, and I'm sure you had to figure that Bungie actually owned the Halo. I just didn't know if Microsoft actually owned part of it too, or how exactly that worked. I mean, it's kind of the similar thing right now with Destiny with Bungie and Activision. Uh, See, and that's what's interesting too, is since Bungie since Activision is the publisher on Destiny, Activision obviously is also um, publishing. You know, they make the Call of Duty games, so it there's been a lot of times where Destiny fans have been kind of leery of they don't want the Destiny series to go the route that a lot of the Call of Duties have. Uh, I mean, bottom line for me for Call of Duty World War II right now, it is good to see that they are trying new things. With this new multiplayer objective mode, new a new social space and things like that. Uh, I like how they are going back to their roots. So, I mean, we haven't seen a Call of Duty World War II in quite some time. I mean, they've been going down this path of the more futuristic warfare for quite some time. So it's going to be interesting to see the fans' reception on this entry of the series, because we all know how the reception was last year for Infinite Warfare. But like I said, Infinite Warfare still sold a shit ton of copies, and uh, for the most part, I haven't beat the Infinite Warfare campaign yet. I do need to spend some more time on it and try and get it wrapped up. But I think that the campaign on Infinite Warfare is really good. Almost great. I'd almost say it's great. But I haven't played any of the multiplayer. I did play a lot of the Black Ops 3 multiplayer though, and I did have some fun with that as well. But for me, like I said, the jury is still somewhat out on this World War II entry. But it also was just barely announced, so it is also too early to say. Uh, like a lot of the games, it's going to come down to what we see at E3 with it. I think it's pretty safe to say that we'll probably get another probably huge trailer for the game, and then probably a lot more information coming out as well. So, but that's pretty much going to do it for today's edition of the Daily Dose. One thing it's worth mentioning: the Daily Dose we're going to have at the beginning of every stream on just Monday through Friday. So you can catch the Daily Dose Monday through Friday at the beginning of my streams at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's if you want to catch them live. You can drop into chat, and as we're talking, you can put it into chat, and I'll read your comments so that you can join the conversation. And if you don't catch them live, you can check out the YouTube channel at Sports Nerd Web. I have all the Daily Dose editions archived in a playlist there. You can check them out for all the past ones. And while you're there, make sure you drop a sub. Thanks for watching and listening, and yeah. Be safe, don't text and drive, and have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.